Well, that's it. Just what we all voted for. The wonderful, wonderful can't even say his name today. That shows about how well I am doing today. How are you all, folks? I'm by myself today. Mark, unfortunately, is traveling on the road with his family. He's got a few problems that he has to deal with. So, without our usual ability to banter, I suppose it's going to be a bit of a short show. Actually, I should probably turn some lights on and give my face a bit of colour. There we go. Now we go. You can see each other better. Let me just jump over to the chat. Hey, Silver Fox. Thought I might have died. Mate, the way I've been feeling at the moment, that's quite possible. But, you know, how things are and how they go is what it is. I mean, got so many computers running around in this room at the moment. It's like getting heated up with all of the bits and pieces that we have running, with the printer going and a machine that's working away. It's at 8.7 billion passwords at the moment for a certain job, and still going. But anyway, so tonight I was going to look at, with Mark, we were going to talk about actual real life scenarios and what's being used in various cryptocurrencies around the world and what are active and what are not. So with that, I did the usual thing, and I went and asked AI for a few bits and pieces and a few questions, and came up with a few of us, a few cryptos that are actually active in the market. That means that they've got their own forefront, their own exposure and bits and pieces, and where they're invested in business, or whether it's consumer grade, etc., and so on. And it was quite interesting to see what sort of some of the rankings were that came up. The one thing that is most interesting about this, when I asked the question, which ones are more active or have business interactions, or have business interactions, or have a consumer-based forefront, or etc., Bitcoin never got mentioned. Yeah, I saw that about, I'll just put that up. Grass, yeah, I saw that. I've got Grass running on my machine here, and I'll be looking forward to that airdrop. It's fair, just basically free money, but yeah. So what I'd do, I thought I'd just bring these up. So let me just go and add these to the screen. Share a screen, grab the right relative window and share that. All right. So, and if I can get myself out of the way, which is probably a good idea, let's do that. This is the industry consumer blockchain comparison of 2025. Now, on top of the list here, and these have been star rated, just in case you're wondering, Ethereum, or ETH, and you all know what my feelings are on ETH. The project itself is great. The expense of using it is always a pain in the butt. So, but it's there. And what it does is it sits there, it shows us used for tokens, bonds, EIBs, even stable coins, PYUSD, which is actually PayPal, right? It has millions of wallets used via PayPal, Venmo, is for gaming, NFTs, DeFi, which is decentralized finance, etc. Right? And it specifies over there PayPal, Siemens, bonds, and countless DApps, or DApps as in otherwise known. The next ones are Polygon, which is known as the ticker Matic. And its enterprise integration, Nike, Franklin, Templeton, Siemens, bond issues. So Nike, Swoosh, Reddit, avatars, consumers, loyalty, and projects. So they actually have that. There's a $60 million bond on Polygon's chain at the moment. And they're also working on Web3 platforms, as we can see here. Solana, right, also that was only 4-star rating. That's just something worth noting. It's only got a 4-star rating on that. Solana, which is also 4-star. And the only one with 5-star that we can see is actually Ethereum up here at the moment. So Solana is interesting though, because it's Visa settlements, rails, settlement rails, major DeFi and gaming platforms. So Shopify is doing using Solana to settle its USDC. So you can actually pay through checkouts using crypto. Helium, IoT networking, Step N, I have no idea, and games. Now, IoT networking is interesting because IoT is the Internet of Things. And what is the Internet of Things? Anybody in the chat? Anybody at all? Let me take that off. I'm too busy reading and not even seeing. The Internet of Things is all of those bits and pieces you have, and part of that is your various apps like Alexa. Oops, I better not say that in case I trigger somebody's device or Google's device, etc. It's your smart fridges, your smart microwaves, your smart air conditioning, all that sort of stuff. That's part of the Internet of Things. And some conspiracy theorists would like to also prove that, or like to say that we are part of the Internet of Things now as well, depending on what actually happened. I have my own beliefs in that, of which I'm not going to mention on this show because I could get banned. Okay, shooting back here, we have Avalanche or AVAX is used by the US DMV for title tokenization, TradeFi, and pilots. So in here, California Department of Motor Vehicles has put all of their cars, all their registrations on the blockchain using the Avalanche blockchain. So that's a real use case society that's actually happening. Stellar and XLM and Ripple, these two sort of tie in a bit together. They're used by Franklin Templeton, MoneyGram, remittance networks, retail on and off ramp, cash to USD, cross-border remittances. MoneyGram and Stellar, cash to crypto rails. So in other words, they've got the option to convert your crypto to cash and your cash to crypto. Very, very interesting. Now, because Mark's not here, I get to do the XRP show for tonight. So in here, we can see that we've got XRP, which is used by banks, which we know is being set up through SBL RippleNet partners for and instant cross-border settlements. Now, Japan and the Philippines is using XRP's or Ripple's chain to do this, not necessarily XRP, but as they are sort of synonymous, they work with each other, and users receive remittances directly. So SBI Remittance Japan and the Philippines corridor. Tezo, which is one I didn't actually expect to pop up, is used for tokenization securities. And it's also with the Bank of France, just to let you know that. Ubisoft Courts and NFTP Gaming. Now, Ubisoft is a very, very large organization that's out there, but that's all in the relative gaming sector. So once again, a lot of people who are not currently employed spend a lot of time behind their computer gaming. I wonder why. All right. And just to throw one in there, I asked, I said, because I never brought it up, but I thought, let's just throw Electronium in there. And we can see the Electronium did not score well. It only has 3 stars. But it is interesting to note that it's an telco and NGO integration, merchant API, FCA registered in UK entity, which means it goes through all of the relative know your informations and all that sort of stuff. It does have millions of active users via the ETN app and anytask.com with airtime, top-ups in 140 countries. Anytask.com is a freelance economic telco, anytime airtime payments. So I thought I would just throw that in there so that you could sort of get a bit of an idea. So that is an actual working situation. Now, does that mean that you should invest in ETN? Do your research. right? As far as that's concerned, do your research due to the fact that it's been around for quite some time. And while it is active, it still has a very low market cap, etc. So, and hello, there I am. I'm back. I needed to put me back on the stage. There we go. So in that situation, you need to be careful on what you're doing. But the interesting thing from this little study is the fact that most cryptos do not seem to have any real world applications. So the bigger coins, the Polymatic, the Stellar, the Ripple, they are showing that they have active blockchains out there that are doing stuff. Now, a lot of the blockchains and stuff you'll find that are tied to trading platforms and bits and pieces as well. Like CryptoCoin is one. So effectively, while there is those sort of apps, but you're looking for something that's going to be more worldwide or more based that you can actually make some sort of profit on. And to do that, you really need to look into what they're actually doing, with who they're doing it, and various bits and pieces. And that's part of what today was about, was to try and bring that into place. What's this, Pegs? Let's have a look at this, Peg. I prefer dumb things like me. I'm not tech savvy. I'll tell you what, trying to stay tech savvy, that is a full-time job. You are forever learning stuff along the way. Thank you guys for showing up. Now, what I will ask, though, is although we don't have a huge following on here, we do need to get some more people to subscribe to the FBN network. There's a whole heap of stuff we're trying to plan over the next 12 months, but to do that, we need to start getting numbers up, which is handy. So if you can refer, I mean, it's not just coin toss. We've got Real Talk with Vince. We've got some stuff done when we were out traveling around with trying to think of it, 832, where there's some beautiful interviews about 832. Tim Dwyer, we've talked about politics. And again, here in South Australia, there's going to be some politics coming up shortly. I'm hoping to get a hold of a couple of people and have a bit of a chat with them where they're at. So for all those who are not in South Australia, you don't need to worry about it. But I would like it if you could promote, like, share, try and get this out there so that we can get those numbers up. At the moment, the costs for running all of this is coming out of my pocket, out of Carl's pocket, which is what you would expect if you're on doing a business. But yeah, it's time and effort and all that thing as well. What's this one here from Peg? Adam Stokes is on now as well. Sometimes conflicting time shows. Oh, okay. All right. I'm not sure who Adam Stokes is, but yeah, fair enough. We're going to have that. This is an unfortunate thing that comes into play with network. We were supposed to do it last night, but as I did say the week before, we had to go and pick up people from Adelaide and all that sort of stuff. And I texted Mark and said, we're not going to sort of make it. And would tonight be okay? He said, fine. And then I said, oh, just sent you a link. He said, oh, I'm in the middle of traveling with family. So that sort of didn't actually happen. What else can we talk about? All right. I'll just bring this back up. All right. This gives you a little bit of a showing of industry adoption and consumer reach. Ethereum once again leading the chain. Polygon, Solana, Stellar, Avalanche, XRP, Tezo. This is the ones that the AI program picked out. I mean, it wouldn't have even put ETN into it unless I literally prompted it to do it. There's a bit of an example of why ETN was in there. I am no means at all saying anything about purchasing ETN. It has performed well when it first came out. They've gone through a lot of changes, and right now sitting at 0.002% or something of the cents per coin, which is a real shame because I had quite a few of them for quite a while. I have sold off and taken some profit along the way and taken some losses along the way as well, I might add. But it does give you a bit of an idea. And here's a pretty good summary. At a glance, category digital asset tokens, the best blockchains are Ethereum, Polygon, and Tezos. Now, digital asset tokenization. We talked about this before. Digital asset tokenization is all about getting things like your house tokenized, your car tokenized, any assets that you may have that are worth tokenizing so that you have proof of ownership and bits and pieces. You would think that holding it in your hand or whatever might be proof of ownership, but we've seen people's houses being taken from them. The government has the right to come over and just say, we want your house, please sell, or we will acquire it without your permission, which can be really, really done. And I have seen that done in some places, which is not good. Sorry, guys, about the clash. That's just Randy saying that yet another person. Let's be fair. Come on, they should be watching me, not them. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, we won't be on every Sunday night. This was just an one-off occasion on this case due to Halloween and everything being set up. So I apologise for that. Getting back to this, sorry, stable coins and payments, right? Solana, Stellar, XRP, Ledger are the ones that are in that. So stable coins and payments. So we're going to see a lot more of the Solana, Stellar, XRP chains. So these are the chains that I would be looking at if you're looking to invest. But that also comes into play is what's happening with the bull market, right? Governance and registry projects, Avalanche is the only one that's in there at the moment. So somehow they've managed to tie themselves into some government projects, none of which happen to be here in Australia. Financial inclusion and micropayments, or that's ETN. So that's why that one's in there. And consumer branding and gaming is Polygon, Solana, and Tezos. So these are some of the areas that we're looking at. The one thing I actually haven't asked it was which AI chain. So let's do that live, shall we? Got to spell which AI chains are the best. Let's see what it says. Searching the web. Okay. So here it's listing the AI chains, because we were talking about that last, which ones would be the right ones. And so you can see here that we've got Ocean Protocol, which is a decentralized data market, which provides data providers. Now, data, as we all know, is the future for money, right? The more data that they can collect, the more they can sell, the more they can use it, etc. Now, is this a good thing? Right? Depends on how you look at it. I mean, with data, with the movement of data goes your privacy. There's no ifs or buts about that. So depends on just how much data you want to get around or how much you want to allow to get out there. It says there, yeah, data access, quantity regulated, privacy issues and business transactions. Fetch AI is another one. This is a platform that enables autonomous software agents, AIs, to perform economic activities over a decentralized network. So automatic platforms, we're all seeing AI come up in some format or another. We've seen it when we've been talking about our automated phone answering systems where you've got to do that. These are going to come better and better and better. I mean, while I was putting this little bit of a thing together and I had a slideshow produced, whatever, I did most of this not by typing, but I actually did speak to the AI, and its ability to understand is absolutely remarkable, right? It knew what I was asking, how I was asking, and you've all heard me. You've seen me here, right? I'll stumble over my words. I'll take a few minutes to think, etc. Because, I'm getting old. The brain's getting senile. I haven't had enough coffee today, and I'm feeling a bit on the off side and off color. although not nice and white now because of the lights. But that's part of what actually goes on. Render is a network that's all about GPU computing and rendering graphics 3Ds. Render has, in fact, would probably be the top one in this field at this stage. But to purchase Render, well, you've got to have a bit of money. The graph is also in there as well, along with BitTensor. So you can see it gives you a whole heap of information. What's the best way to evaluate it, etc. So if you're not using AI to your advantage, people, I would really suggest that you think about doing so. It's one way of at least hedging your bets when you're looking at investing, etc., in cryptocurrencies and finding out what plans are best. Let me just bring up Trading View. I had a call just before we started, so I was on that phone call up to about 3 minutes before I got in here, so I apologize for that. So I'm not fully prepared. And then Mark, who was going to be my filler for when I fell over, which is on a regular basis, he has fallen over on the road somewhere, so I'm not able to do that. What I did want to, and the reason why I'm bringing up the charts here, and I'll show you what I'm up to, guys. I'll add that to the stage. Right. I just wanted to have a quick look at, what am I in? 6 monthly chart. Crap, I need to get out of that. Let's go down to our weekly charts. And I wanted to show this on BTC. All right. So let's just bring that down. BTC is going to be your store of value. And no matter what we look at, and as we look at it, we can see we're going back through 2021, etc. Here, this is on the daily chart. What are we seeing in this particular thing? We know that Bitcoin has dropped down. So does this BTC will be the first leader of the end of the bull market? So does this mean that we are at the end of the bull market? Right, we've hit our peak. We've had a double top up here, and we're now heading out. I don't think so. Not yet. I look at that there, which is this section just here, and I can see that we can see that fall off, and I can't see that here. I sort of start to see the rise of it, but I don't think that's there. I think this is a bit of a fake out. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see one more rise, one more significant rise. We have a rise there, a big drop off, a rise there, because we've got COVID in here, which doesn't help because that really throws a muddle into the picture. But then we get the rise back up where it hits all times highs and then drop down here for a year. Now, I was listening to a person today and I sort of agree with his philosophy. If we've hit the peak here now in this part of November, we're in November, wow, I keep forgetting, time flies, right? And this is the end of the bull market, then it's time to consolidate our resources and hold on to what we've got and make sure that the ones that we are choosing are reasonably good showings, which is why we're talking about some of those over in there, and I'll have a look at a couple of those in a sec. But if this is it, and it's going to drop down 50 or 60 or 70%, what we'll see here is that it will consolidate here, and that'll take somewhere around about 12 months before we hit the bottom of that market, and then it starts coming up. So over this time, what would I be doing? Well, if we see it's a definite decline, and anything I tell you is not financial advice, but if I had money that I could invest in this, and I will be doing it as I get a few pennies here and there, if this goes down, I'm going to be waiting until July, August next year before I start looking at purchasing again to try and pull out some. So I'm not going to play the market on the way down. If you want, you could put in a little bit each week and you'll probably find that you end up losing. But on the actual average out over time, you'll end up being a big winner, because as it goes back up at the start of the next run, like all markets do, you will actually start to make money because you cost averaged in, which means that you might have bought it at $10, then $8, and then $7, and then $6, and your average of your buy was $8. You know, that sort of thing. So that's where that would go. But as I said, once again, don't take financial advice from me. I definitely wouldn't take financial advice from me. I have enough trouble making it work. But it gives you a bit of a concept on what it is. But I feel here is not really the end. I reckon we're going to have one more up, just one, right? Probably in December, hopefully. But over the next few days, it would be worth watching this to see how far this drops. Now, if it goes below 100 and it does that and it stays around that 100 or below for the next couple of weeks in the weekly chart. So if we were to change that to, I am in weekly charts. If it stays below the 50 moving average, which is for me that red line, right, just here. If it stays below that 50 moving average for more than 2 weeks, it's time to consolidate, get out, relax, because it's over. That's the way I see it. That's just the way I see it as now. But at the moment, it has not bounced below that moving average. So right now, that red line is valid for us. So with that, you get the choice of actually having a look at some of the other options that you might look at. What's this one? Oh, that's Arweave. AVAX, that's what I was looking for. There's AVAX. And you can see I've been charting a few things along the way. So right now, AVAX, which is one of those ones that we looked at that said that it was worth checking out. Curve is yet another one. And I don't have a lot in, Link. Link was also one of the ones that was constantly talked about in the AI as well. So you can see here that over this period of time, Link has in fact been up fairly steady, except for that major drop at this point here. So this is actually a reasonably good chart when we were to look at it. So Link is yet another one that's worth it. So start looking at investing in your higher cryptos. Take, 60, 70 or 80% of the money you've got that you can afford to spend. In other words, what I'm saying is never spend more than you're prepared to lose, right? So take some of that. You might want to invest it into some of these higher cryptocurrencies because they have more chance of going somewhere because they're already actively in the businesses. They've already got active stuff happening. So in that respect, that's how I would look at my investments. And AI, I still believe that AI is going to be a big marketplace. Silver Fox there saying that Link is in a communication or in an accumulation phase at the moment. And you guys are going to have to explain to me who Stokesy is. So I'm going to have to go look him up because I don't even know. You got to remember I spend a lot of my time trying to help other people do stuff, so I don't get a lot of time to look at major events or other influencers. Not that I call myself an influencer, but I don't get a chance to look around at some of these places. So I'll have to chase some of these up afterwards. So that'll be interesting. Our biggest challenge, of course, at this stage, and Peg's Place is right, is the cost. Mining stuff costs a lot of money to buy and to power it up. Yep. And we're talking electricity. So electricity, as usual, is the biggest problem in this country. We're all being fallen into this green energy crap, etc. Now, we have an Australian company called Power Ledger that's all about sharing. And once again, when that cryptocurrency came out, I'm not sure how active they are. And because my trading view is limited, I can't even really look them up. So unless we go to coins, we'll go not CoinSpot, Coinbase. Let's go look at Coinbase. And Oh, really? It's going to make me jump through hoops, yeah. Thank you, LastPass. I should get sponsored from LastPass because they look after all my passwords. Come on. Oh, really? Two-factor authentication. All right, fine. I'll go the other way then. And you all get to see the massive amount of shit I have on my computer. Isn't that wonderful? I could have just hit the coin gecko at the start there. That would have worked as well. Okay. Power without a W. Power Ledger. All right, so this is an Australian-based crypto country currently running at 10%, and we can see over its times. It started off really, really well, got up around $2, but over time it's come down here. You see they've got white paper, Medium. They're running on the Ether network, Ledger, the Power Ledger, the ecosystem, etc. Historical prices. Up there, all-time high was $1.89 and has dropped 94%. There are so many cryptos that we've done or purchased or looked at that are like that. It is unbelievable. But it is still going. All right. He presents well, and by the sounds of made bank on the Richard Hart's Hex Pulse project, according to Mr. Bill. He's been a DGen before. Yeah. Most of us are looking at ways of trying to make ourselves some money in this current environment, because as it is, we're not surviving, and it's not going to get any better for our children under this. So we're all in there trying to find a quick way to make some good money, but most cryptocurrencies will cost you than you can. So investment is a key point, and you need to be really careful where you're investing. So as I was saying, you might put 80% into solid blue chip type cryptos, and the other 10 or 20% you might put into some lesser known cryptos or a bit of a gamble. But that's totally up to you where you want to go and how you want to do that. For me, well, I'm just going to keep following the bouncing ball at this sort of a stage of the game. But I wanted to bring that stuff about which are active, what looks good. I'll try and do a bit more research, but as I keep saying, I'm forever running around with my head chopped off, trying to do stuff for everything else, and more concerned about this country than I am about crypto at this stage. So, as there is only me tonight, you guys get the chance to throw a couple of questions at me, if you wish, and I will see if I can fumble my way through it. I don't know why you watch us either, Mr. Bill, to be honest. As I said, we're just a general chat. We're just a couple of average Aussies. We don't necessarily claim to be true experts, so no challenge on that. Okay, and I appreciate that as well. Yeah, no worries on that. It's so hard to discuss crypto because it's not a field that there's lots of people with opinions out there, but in all fairness, it's more about trying to play a market. And as you know, there's lots of people that play markets, stock markets, etc., and a lot of them do not make money at all. Some do, some don't. But the stock market is a lot less volatile than crypto. So crypto moves much, much quicker. So there is more chance of losing your money in crypto than there is in gaining it, unless you've invested well. Yeah, cool. Okay, so how do you determine what is the wrong path, Mr. Bill? That's the question, because we can always find the positives for a path and the negatives for a path, right? It just depends on which focus we want to take it on. So you've got to look at that and say, well, everybody knows what is a path, but which path? And it's a good guess. 9 years in the space, I've seen it all. Yep. Yeah, Mr. Bill, I can agree with you. I've been here since 2017. So does that mean I'm fully educated? No. Does it mean I have a reasonable idea on what's happened and the cycles and all that sort of stuff? Yes. Did I wish I didn't sell my crypto because I had to so I could live? Yes. That's for those guys who are still holding it, fantastic. Good on you. Well done. I hope you've been very successful at it. I know you got stuck into the ETN too. Yeah, I had quite a bit of ETN. I had bought it when it first came out. So theoretically, right now, it is lower than what I bought it. But over the time that it was higher, I did actually manage to take some profit. So in all fairness, I would say I've balanced out pretty much even on ETN. It's a shame because the actual concept of that was really good. The ability to do the debanked people, the ability to pay for airtime, etc. And it is a widely used cryptocurrency in the African regions, but that's about as far as it's got. And they have not been able to get any real corporate interest in it, which is unfortunate too. So, yeah, he says he's still holding his crap ICO bag. Yeah, as they say, if the bull market's coming to an end now, we may see, it's not guaranteed, but we may see a rise in that shift of finances down into some of the earlier the altcoins, and they will bounce up and take a bit of thing, but you've got to be clever enough to grab it when they jump up, because they will sink way down again. So it's like any sort of market. If we look at it like the crypto market and compare it to the .com market, there's going to become a time where the good enterprises will survive and the bad ones will fall out. It's a matter of choosing which are the good versus which are the bad. Right. You should do a show on crypto scams. I think I've fallen for most of them. Wow. How do you do a show on crypto scams? What type of scams are you talking about? That's the question, Silver Fox. Right? There are so many different types. The crypto market, it's a gambling scene. You are taking a gamble, right? Would I ever trust anybody with managing my crypto portfolio, as most of them try and con you into? The answer is no. I wouldn't even go there in the first place, because I feel that they're right. Most of the time they pretend that they're making you heaps and heaps of money. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Most of the time they take that money that you give them, and then they want to charge you more to get supposedly the huge amount you got out. Yeah, no, that's definitely not the way to go. I was buying ETN. I don't think I spent 70 ETH on it. Pretty sure I didn't. I never had 70 ETH in my life, but yeah. Okay, so although in all fairness, that was 9 years ago. My brain doesn't work that well, so I couldn't tell you. Yeah. And Stu's there saying he lost hang on, that wasn't the one. This one. Let me click on that one. Yeah, I lost a bit of a Trump coin as well. Life's a bitch. Yeah, if you got into that Trump coin when it was early, and you could have made a killing, and a lot of people do. But of course, I knew it go when I saw it. I stayed away from it. Although I did buy a few, I should say. I did buy it at about $15 or something, and then it went boom. But yeah, never mind. That was a different Trump coin, not the Trump coin, I should add, because that's the other thing you got to understand, that people like to fake coins on the ledgers, which are not true, the actual true coin. So you always have to make sure you're choosing the right coin. And I've been caught a lot by that. Oh, ETH was $70, right? When ETH was $70, and when I bought $300 worth. So that gives you an idea of ETN at that time. So that would have been 4 and a bit ETH, not, yeah. So, oh yeah, 300 American actually. Yes, that's a good point too. Okay, so I was just reading something from Stu. Okay, Stu. It was a miss hit, mate. A miss hit. So yeah, sorry about that. Right. So is there anybody else that wants to ask us any sort of questions at all at this stage? Do I think the market's over? I think there's one more leg up, honestly. But if it does fall below that 50-day average, then it's probably time to go away and come back in 6 to 12 months' time. That doesn't mean we can stop the show. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff we can talk about, emerging new cryptos, bits and pieces, what things are now starting to move more. Well, you know, what government trends or what worldwide trends are occurring. So there is a lot. Like Monero that he just mentioned there. I liked Monero, I always have, because of the fact that it's a privacy ledger. Now, there is a second crypto that is now also coming in to make that play. And it is one of the things that is against most other cryptos. They don't want to see. Initially, ETN was supposed to be privacy too, but they made that change because of KYC. But the privacy gives you the option to transfer and the government not know what you're doing to a great degree. And I think that is something that is well worth looking at. Let's go. Monero was one of the first ones in there, and they have not really changed that. And Monero used to sit fairly high in the chart. I'm just going to see if I can find it now and see where it shifted to. Monero. Okay, so it's currently sitting at 33, right? And if we look at that over its max time, you can see that it went up really high. Privacy came down. So is Monero a reasonable investment? It's been holding its own. It has definitely been holding its own. So this is going back from January 15 right through to here now. Now, wouldn't you love to have bought it down there at 38 cents? That would have been just fantastic. Because even now, today, it's 356. Right, its total over the max period of time is how much it's gone up. Look at that. Once again, it was in the top 100 coins though. So, yeah, right. It's not illegal to use to have, but hang on, show that. We'll show that. Good evening, Donna. Welcome. It's not illegal to use or have it, but it's not on many exchanges. That's true. Right, it isn't illegal. Do governments like it? No. Why? Well, because, as I said, it's privacy. They don't want to know that. Do we have the ability here? There we are. That gives you some of the exchanges that it's on. It's on a few more than you might think. That's the USD to ETH and various conversions. And there's like 10 in this row, and there's 5 rows of it. Right? So it's on 47 different exchanges. But understand that wouldn't be 47 exchanges, because these are the same exchange might be on there twice, because you'll get KuCoin, XMR to ETH, you have XMR to BTC, XMR to whatever other exchanges that they will allow it to do to you. Now, Zcash, that's the other one that Mr. Bill's talking about. That's the other privacy coin, which I think has really made some significant inroads. And if I had some money, I would probably buy it. Let's go have a look at Zcash. Zcash. $418 at the moment. That's where it first started out. So from July 17 to now, as you can see, it's starting to make a climb, because as more and more people are moving forward, they're getting more and more conscious about the fact that they're losing more and more rights and more privacies. So also a beautiful number of exchanges and some good exchanges: MX, Binance, Coinbase, Pinex, CoinX, KuCoin, etc. Kraken's been around for years. So effectively, yes, that is one that I would also look at. What? I'm pretty sure Zcash was private, wasn't it? That was one of the things that they were bringing about. Electronic November to electronic. Okay. Well, if I'm incorrect, Bill, I'm sorry. I didn't say I was perfect, but yeah. What is the other privacy coin that's coming around? Or are you just saying that it's BS, that they're advertising it as private and it's not? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So he's if it was truly private, would it be on all of those exchanges? Yes, to answer your question, Bill, I think it would, because effectively the privacy is in the transaction itself, the code and what it actually transfers through. You can move a coin to a wallet on that exchange, and if that wallet's tied to you, then no, that part's not private. But what you're doing, if I was to send money to you and you back to me, that part's private. Does that make sense? Right, because it means that the encryption section through the blockchain does not identify what wallet it came from. That was the initial understanding of that privacy, as I believe they were doing that. So it basically uses a substitute field. It's tracked back through various code, but it uses a substitute field so as not to identify the address that it was sent from. So at least that's my understanding. It's a sales con. Fake pseudo privacy. There we go. Okay, Bill. Mr. Bill, happy for you to think that way, and you may be well and truly 100% right. I have not dived in deep. I don't get the time. Like when I was back in 2020, I used to be right into spending the time to look these things up. Nowadays, I can't. And the only reason that CoinSpot started was just for a couple of people to have a general conversation, for guys to ask questions, sort of from the low level new person to crypto, because we do not class, well, I don't class myself as a crypto expert. Mark, however, has done far better with his investments than I have. So it's always good to have a listen to him occasionally. We will own nothing and be happy. Yeah. Well, that's a fun. Every single one of my kids are saying they're not going to own a house because they can't afford to. So, yeah. And I have 6 kids. So that answers that question for you. All right, guys, we've been going 50. I didn't think I could last 30 minutes, let alone 53 minutes. But with that, I should probably raise the fact that, once again, Voice of Freedom has got its lottery. And let me just go and put that banner up there, which actually has the other thing that you should invest in if you have time and money, which is some silver and gold, right? And in this situation, we've got our Byron Bobs. Well, not in this case. We've actually got some gold that is coming from a person who donated to the Voice of Freedom. And that one will be in the current lottery that we've got there for $2 a ticket, 750 tickets. You can win yourself $750. And then also the second prize is going to get a gram of gold. So really nice in that respect. The sooner that sells out, of course, the quicker some people can have some money for Christmas, because we've got Christmas coming up. It's all that time. But silver and gold, well, even if it's doing a pullback at the moment in the metals, it's going to go back up again soon. So it is a win, is a win, is a win. But please do that because it supports the Donkey Sanctuary. And the last winners were kind enough to actually donate their winnings back to the Donkey Sanctuary. Half of it went to the Donkey Sanctuary, half went to helping Carl and get himself back into some sort of play. For those who are interested, we're going to be starting a bit of on the road show on FBN, which is all about the story of trying to keep this goddamn mobile network bus running and getting it back on the road so Carl can start shooting around the place. So FBN will have an exclusive information on that, an exclusive show. We're trying to build this FBN network. We've got 12 months. Hopefully, we've got 12 months, depending on what happens in the meeting tomorrow, where we can actually get FBN start moving it forward. It's been on hiatus for a couple of years, and we need to fix that and solve that. But that does involve getting those likes and subscribes on the channels, so we're looking for that as well. With any luck, you guys will help us out in that respect, but by all means, if you can't help us out, go and help out those donkeys, right? They need all the help they can get. So go buy a ticket from the Voice of Freedom Lottery. It's down there, merch.vof.com. Hopefully FBN will be bringing out its own merch store soon, which will involve T-shirts and sayings and various things like Australia, the land of the fees, not the free. Some of the kangaroos, who's got the nuts in this place, Australia wake up, some of these T-shirts, and they will be set up in such a way as that they'll be done when they're ordered, they'll be delivered and not put on hold like we currently have. I have one set of, I'm going to order some more of the hoodies, which we've got there, so that I can finish one order for one person. So we're going to order a couple of others and throw them out to our stringers who have helped out for doing shows relative to Freedom Network stuff or even Voice of Freedom. But at this stage of the game, guys, if we don't move forward and we don't get this network up and running properly, then yet again, Australia is just going to lose another place where they can get good entertainment, the truth, opinions, and even sometimes not the truth, depending on whose opinion you believe. We're just going to lose that. We're not going to be able to provide that or do that. And for anybody who wishes to volunteer or assist, just email me, Vince, at fbnmedia.online. That's VINCE at FBN, so Freedom Bravo November media.online. And just say, hey, look, I've got an idea, or I'd like to do a show. If you want to do a show, we can do that as well, or whatever. We're looking for people to come up. And if you want to start your journey at having a bit of a chat and talking to the screen and looking like an idiot, I mean, I can do it every day. So feel free to contact me at that. I'll actually just type that into here so that you guys can grab it if you want. My headache is killing me today, so I apologize for that. Media online. Hopefully I haven't made any spelling mistakes. So you can email me at that address if you're interested in perhaps putting a show together. Now, that could be anything. It could be a show about gardening. It could be a show about certain injuries or work injuries. It could be a show about I'm touring around the country and this is what I'm seeing, you know, life on the road. It could be about homelessness. It could be about politics. It could be the whole idea of the Freedom Broadcasting Network is that it is freedom broadcasting. So you get to be free, providing whatever you say doesn't actually get us kicked off. That's the only part, because we do have to abide by YouTube's terms and conditions. So initially we will govern what goes up, but we're happy for you to produce something and put it up. And if we like it, we'll love it. You'll get your own playlist on YouTube so that you can be identified as to who you are. So put that word around and see how that goes. And we'd love to see people make a move and get to it. What was that, Stu? 6 children will do that. I got one that I know of. Well, I know all 6, actually 7, because I have a stepson as well. So no problems on that. All right, guys, have a fantastic night. Hopefully we'll have Mark back next week so he can guest bag and I don't have to ramble as much. That would be great. But please like and subscribe to this show. Right, go visit the merch product, buy yourself a raffle ticket. You never know, you could be the next lucky winner of $750. And on that, what we'll do is hopefully see you next week, unless something happens in between time and that stops me from doing so. So I've now got to go to the side thing over here that says media assets, and I'm going to play, well, I'm going to put that up first. If our kids can't buy a home, we've failed as a country. That is such a true statement. So with this, I'll say good night, people. Right. Take your name off. Say good night. Invest wisely. Do your research. And above all, keep the faith.